2nd March 2022. It's 7th day of war in Ukraine. On 7th day, the assault on Ukraine started by a paratrooper attack on the city of Kharkiv. Kharkiv is the second city of Ukraine. It is a city home to 1.5 million Ukrainian people. In early morning hours, Russian paratrooper divisions conducted an air assault on the city of Kharkiv. Russian Illusion Il-76 aircrafts that were carrying Russian paratrooper divisions flew over the city of Kharkiv. In the very early morning, they deployed the Russian paratroopers and turned back to their airbase. Russian paratroopers started internal strikes and missions in the city of Kharkiv. Later on, the city's buildings, including multiple administrative buildings, were struck by Russian cruise missiles. In the northwestern area of Kharkiv, a military hospital was also striked, resulting in multiple deaths and many injured, including civilians and military personnel. After the initial assault, Ukrainian army says immediate clashes have broken out on the streets of Ukraine's second city after landing of Russian paratroopers. Russian airborne troops have landed in Kharkiv and attacked a local hospital on Wednesday. There is an ongoing fight between the invaders and the Ukrainians. Practically, there are no areas left in Kharkiv where an artillery shell has not yet hit. The city's governor, Oleksiy, also said on Telegram that 7 people were killed in an attack on a government building and almost 24 people were wounded. Kharkiv is among the largely Russian-speaking cities of Ukraine. It is situated near the Russian border and has a precise population of somewhere around 1.4 million to 1.5 million. It has been target for Russian forces since the Russian President Vladimir Putin launched an invasion on Ukraine that started on February 24th. On Monday, Ukraine's defense ministry said dozens of residents, including children, were killed when a Russian strategic bomber fired 16 missiles towards a residential area in the city of Kharkiv. In Kharkiv, as of now, at least 10 people have died that were killed by shelling that was conducted by Russian armed forces in the region. The Ukrainian President Zhyvytskyi said during a press conference that the strike on the central square is an unconceived terror. No one will forgive and no one will forget. This strike clearly paints Russia as a terrorist state. It was also stated that Russian forces had captured Trostianets after entering it at 1 a.m. Ukrainian advisor Oleksiy stated that the Ukrainian forces had gone on the offensive for the first time during this war, advancing towards Horlivka. Russian troops also advanced, capturing the city of Kherson by the end of the day. The commander-in-chief of the Ukrainian armed forces stated that Ukrainian forces had captured Makariv. The mayor of Mariupol reported that the residential areas in the city were being heavily shelled by the Russian military. As per the United Nations, at least 136 civilians have died, including 13 children, during this invasion, but the real number of people is likely much higher than what we are seeing as of now. Unfortunately, in the current situation, it is extremely difficult for the Air Force of Ukraine to cover the sky in this region. One of the reasons being the Ukrainian air defense systems in this region were destroyed by Russian ballistic missiles and cruise missile strikes. In the nearby town of Zhytomyr, at least 6 people were killed in the Russian missile strikes. The Russian missile strikes were aimed to destroy Ukrainian military base and airbase that was situated close to the city of Zhytomyr. The city of Zhytomyr is located almost 80 miles from the capital of Ukraine, Kiev. Russian forces started striking the city using cruise missiles at night, trying to target and destroy the military airbase that Ukraine has close to the city. Later on, most probably Russia is planning to launch a full-scale invasion on Kiev. Majority of the force it is planning to use in this invasion will come from the 40-mile-long convoy that is just almost 30-40 kilometers away from the city of Kiev. In the Ukrainian city of Zhytomyr, 4 are confirmed dead by the Russian strikes. This information is confirmed by the advisor to Interior Minister of Ukraine. Moscow warned residents of the capital Kiev on Tuesday to flee their homes and rained rockets on Ukraine's second city, Kharkiv. As Russian commanders intensified their bombardment of urban areas in a shift of tactics, after their 6th-day assault stalled completely. The Defense Ministry of Ukraine said a total of 16 high-precision guided missiles had been fired on Monday between time 7 p.m. and 7:51 p.m. at residential areas of Kharkiv from a strategic bomber that was flying over Russia's Belgorod region.
To close the sky, yeah?
That is why no-fly zone. These are preventative sanctions. We wanted them like other ones before. Now the sanctions have been introduced. Thanks be to God, and we see how they affect the Russian economy. We warned both the President and the European Union. Introduce them preventively, introduce them earlier, and you'll see what the reaction will be, that there will not be any invasion.
Блять, на танке, блять! Охуеть! А туда держи курс, подожди, да! Слава Украине, славяну, молодцы вы! Первый ударный танк! Кацапский танк послужит Украине, блядь!
Ukrainian intelligence believes that Viktor Yanukovych, who was a former president of Ukraine and a pro-Russian sympathizer. He was present in Minsk, Belarus, while the negotiations and talks were going on between Russia and Ukraine. It is believed Viktor Yanukovych might be declared president of Ukraine if the Russian forces gain control over Kiev. Also, analysts suggest that Putin might put the pro-Russian leader Viktor Medvedchuk as president if Ukraine surrenders.
Putin is now isolated from the world more than he has ever been. To all Americans, I'll be honest with you, as I always promised I would be. A Russian dictator invading a foreign country has cost around the world. And I'm taking robust action to make sure the pain of our sanctions is targeted at the Russian economy and that we use every tool at our disposal to protect American businesses and consumers. And tonight, I'm announcing that we will join our allies in closing off American airspace to all Russian flights, further isolating Russia and adding additional squeeze on their economy.
I'm here at Tapa in Estonia, where I've been talking to some of the troops that we've sent to help fortify NATO's eastern frontier at a time of massive uncertainty when Vladimir Putin has launched a vicious attack on Ukraine, and the people of Ukraine are suffering an agony as he pounds their cities, as he shows no restraint whatever in the tactics that he uses, going for civilian targets in a way that is absolutely indiscriminate and abhorrent. Now, what we're doing is everything we can to support the Ukrainians with defensive military equipment, lethal aid of a defensive character. We were the first European country to do so. We've trained 22,000 Ukrainian troops. We sent 2,000, more than 2,000 anti-tank weapons, and we are doing more, and we will do more. We are following our lead. About 25 other countries are now helping to support the Ukrainians with this direct military assistance. What we're also doing is making sure that we put together the biggest package of sanctions that has ever been imposed on a G20 country. It's gone on Russia now, it's already having a big effect. And today I've been working with NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg and with Prime Minister Kaja Kallas of Estonia, talking about what more we can do to make sure that the world understands the horror of what is going on in Ukraine. And the more global public opinion can be mobilized, the stronger the political support will be for the people of Ukraine, the stronger for our collective economic sanctions and the military support that we're giving. And I have no doubt that though there will be difficult days ahead for the people of Ukraine, there will be a free, sovereign and independent Ukraine. I have no doubt that Putin will fail, and I can tell you that Putin must fail.
We have announced that we will do this. We will reach carbon neutrality by not later than 2060. This is our calculated commitment, and we are sticking to it, and I stand to be corrected, but nobody have proven to us or to anybody else that 2050 is something which everybody must subscribe. No, I haven't seen Tony Blinken in Rome. I don't know whether he is here or not, but yesterday over dinner we managed to talk with President Biden. He did not send any regards, so I cannot.
Units of the NATO response force have arrived in Romania on Monday and Tuesday, between 28th March and 1st March 2022. The task of these units is to reinforce NATO's defense posture in the eastern part of the alliance. This is the first time NATO has activated the NATO response force for collective defense and deterrence. It follows NATO's activation of its defense response plans amid the biggest security crisis in Europe in decades. France leads this year's highest readiness element of the NATO response force. NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg welcomed the deployment, stating that French troops have arrived in Romania as the lead element of this force. Our commitment to Article 5, our collective defense clause, is ironclad. Will protect and defend every inch of NATO territory.